Hello, good people. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? I wanted to come back around and talk about these UK riots. Interesting enough. Shout out to everybody that's joined me. This is late at night. What's going on with y'all? What's going on? 41 people in the house. Give me a one. Give me a one. Y'all, it is getting interesting out here. I say that. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, just come on, y'all. Let's come on in the room. Come on in the room before I get started. Um, I wasn't gonna do anything tonight. The only reason I decided to do something tonight is one, I just felt like it. I made a decision. I said, you know what? I want to get out here and I want to talk to the people. Ooh, it's cold in here. Hold on, let me cut this air down. It's a little cold, a little chilly. Rio, don't you start. Hush, Rio. Hush. 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 Y'all hear Rio in the background. Y'all hear Rio. He thinks he's the guard dog. I guess I ain't walk him enough today. Because he been barking at everything. Everything he can find, he barking at it. So y'all come on in this room. Come on in this room. We got to talk. We got to talk about what's going on. And what hold on one second. We got to talk about what's going on in the UK. And have y'all been keeping up? Have y'all been keeping up with what's going on? Have y'all been keeping up with what's going on? What's going on, y'all? I'm intrigued by it. I really am. I'll pay a player. I ain't gonna be out here long. So hold on one second. One second. I'm finna play. I ain't gonna be up. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get to my YouTube, my TikToks. I ain't gonna be out here long, but I do want to talk about what's going on, y'all. Um, it's a lot going on. I'll say that much. Something interesting came up. I'm gonna play it, and I want y'all to see the sea of people that have attended this rally. And what's interesting is the oppressor is being the oppressor. They want to blame everybody. Hold on one second. The oppressor want to blame everybody and not hold themselves accountable. They want to say, we want our jobs back. We never took your jobs. They never took your jobs. Um, they want to complain. It's everybody's fault, but theirs. What's literally going on is they designed a system that is literally now coming back to bite them. And that's all to it. And they're mad about it. This I'm gonna play this video. Call your grandma too. I'm gonna play this video. And I'm gonna let y'all see and hear what's going on. Hold on, let me get it. Oh, I'm drinking something that went down the wrong pipe. And you will never ever see Sharia law instituted in this country. As my brother so eloquently said, this country is a Christian country, and it always will be. White Christians doing what white Christians do, which is oppress. Not all of them, but I mean, when you look at, I'm trying to see if I see some more videos from this guy, but it's becoming the narrative because if you look in the chat, and I drop it, go to TikTok, and I'm gonna drop it in here, where I got it from, but if you look in the chat or the comment section of this TikTok, you see a lot of them saying, that's right. That's right. Get our country back. US needs to follow suit. And I'm sitting here saying, now, US, we already learned our lesson from Alabama. Y'all need to stop. Because, yeah, I ain't saying my UK brothers across the pond and Africans and Jamaicans that live over there don't stand on business. But one thing I know about my folks over here, we stand on business. And I don't think it'll work well. Yeah, I don't think it'll work well for them over here. So I just saw in the chat. It was very interesting to see that in the chat, to see them rally together, Italy, Holland, US, the UK, Spain. We need to all come together. And I'm sitting here like, okay, US, you better sit this one out. Sit this one on out, because I think if they attempted to do that here, it wouldn't work well for them. One, you don't know who has a gun, who doesn't. That's one thing you don't know. You walk up on somebody and yeah. Yep, Sharia law is a religious law, which is a part of the Islamic traditions. Yep. But they're targeting, and I got another one on here. I mean, if I went to TikTok after TikTok after TikTok, you will see the concern. You will see the concern in their face. And another thing is, understand that this racism and what they consider to be indentured servitude is not too far away. So, as far as a timeline, I saw something that a while back where they said they had a thing called farming in UK, where Africans who wanted to go to school, they can pretty much give UK their children. Their children are be there, and their children. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm sorry, I was doing something, but I'm gonna show y'all a video. His name is Adewale. I think it's the guy from what movie was he from? I forgot the name of the movie where they talked about the one ship that did not that ended up fighting against the colonizers, and they ended up making them turn the ship around, and they took the ship back. I forgot the name of the movie. Oh my gosh, I forgot the name. It'll hit me. But they had something called farming, where white couples would get African babies. Amistad. Amistad. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So I played a video with him talking about something he experienced. Hold on, let me get the video. So this mentality that they have over the UK, it's not too far-fetched. It's not too long ago. It wasn't like 400 years. This is like recently. So I'm gonna play something for y'all. Yeah, Amistad. That's the name. I couldn't remember. Um, where is it? Here it is. But with that being said, before I go into this video, it's just so very interesting to see them do what they do. And this goes into the concept of one of the scriptures that I came across when I first came into the awakening. And when I came into the awakening, it kind of stayed with me. Let me see. Let me pull it up. I really believe everybody's gonna get here, and it is which one is it? Hold on. where is it? I knew it was Isaiah. It was Isaiah 13:14, where it says, like a hunted gazelle or like a sheep with none to gather them, each will turn to his own people and each will flee to his own land. I think that's where we're going. I think that's where we're going in Isaiah 13:14, where everybody's going to be fleeing to their own people because they're not going to have a choice. And this is leading to that because now everybody's making this movement of, hey, my sister, you are welcome to come up. I'm going to share the link with you if you want to come up here. Ema Carlos from Hebrew Way. If y'all have not followed her, she is on Facebook. She's on Facebook. So you're welcome to come up here. And Ashonda, I noticed you were up here too. You're more than welcome to come up here as well, sis. But with that being said, it feels like that's where we're going because that right there is like everybody is fighting for their own people. And it's so very interesting to me. And I hate to say it, I'm so intrigued by what's going on right now because you're beginning to see these prophecies and these scriptures unfold before our eyes. This is nothing that we're oblivious of. I don't think any of us are oblivious of what's going on right now. I think everybody who's watching right now are totally aware of what's transpiring right now. And with that being said, um it's going to make people shift to their own people. And right now they're saying literally in the UK, they are literally hunting these people and they're hiding looking out their windows because the colonizer being doing colonizer stuff is literally, I mean, coming up, hey brew queen, what's going on? But they're literally chasing them down, attacking them. And it's really, they're saying under the name of immigrants and under the name of Islam, but it's really not that. You know, they try to hide some of what they're doing. It's literally anybody that doesn't look like them. If you look at that video I showed you just a second ago, everybody, it was a sea of clear people, sea of white people, just a bunch of them, and they all were gathered in the square. And you feel the anger, you feel the racism, you feel the white supremacy, you feel all of that coming from them. You feel it coming from there. You feel the narcissistic ways that they had when they were sitting in that square or standing in that square and they were literally protesting. And what's going on is all these nations are now coming together. Because I think one video I saw a Ukrainian flag, I saw a Great Britain flag. I saw in the comments where they were saying, you know, Spain, Italy, join us. The US was saying, join us. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. If you're us, who is them? Who are you attacking? And when I saw the US, I really looked at it. I said, US, who are you attacking? We already saw some of this in Nashville back in July, right up like July 6th, when you saw the Nazi group or the racist white supremacy group marching in Nashville. Interesting part is we were in that section of Nashville the day before that happened, and we left and we were headed to Memphis. But we saw we was in that area, and for some reason I told y'all that day I kept looking up like something ain't right. The way this area is made, you know, and it's a bunch of people and it's a crowd. It's not the safest, you know. It's anybody can be a sniper there if they wanted to. So it's so very interesting to see this. And I'm not scared. That's the weird thing. What's going on, hot sauce? I'm not really scared. I'm more so like, wow, this really happening before our eyes. This isn't like something that we just read and we just keep going on our way, but this stuff is really happening before our eyes. So with that, the concept of racism is too far removed when it comes to Great Britain. It's not too far removed. It's not something that they just decided just to abruptly do and Where did I send that? I didn't send it. Hold on. Where did I send that email? Hold on. Sister E. Let me see. My Sister E email. Sister E email. Hold on. Let me check where I sent the email. I know I ain't sent it to my sent where. Oh, I sent to my other email. Okay. but but the concept of slavery and racism is not too far removed. Um so let me show y'all a video. This was interesting when I saw this. Let's see.
Well, farming was a term that was used by British social workers to describe a phenomenon that occurred in Britain after the Second World War, whereby the Nigerian immigrants coming to Britain would foster or farm their children out to white working class families. We're talking thousands of Nigerian children all over Britain in order so that they could work and study. And the idea was that once they'd accomplished what they set out to do, um, graduated, saved enough money, they would then collect their children and return to their native homes. That practice became known as farming. And I was farmed at the age of 6 weeks old to a white couple in the southeast of England, about an hour and a half outside of London. The film, with the same title, follows my journey under that process.
This was unique to Great Britain.
It was. It's peculiar only to Britain and peculiar to only the Nigerian immigrants, because at the time, Britain was going through an economic recession, and it called upon its colonies, the West Indies, India, and Africa, to come and help rebuild it. So it was kind of like an expedient labor force.
So how old were you when you were taken to this white couple?
6 weeks old.
And how old were you when you left?
16. You can imagine at 6 weeks old, my white foster family were my family. My 2 siblings were with me, and within the house, there were another about 7 or 8 other Nigerian children from other families. So we all considered ourselves as a family, and our foster families as our parents. And I just grew up there, as you would in Britain during the 70s. The big difference, of course, being the area where we were placed, which was a town called Tilbury Town, was notoriously racist, and they'd never been exposed to Black children or Black people at all. So we were the first Blacks to be, placed in that environment. So it was a very racist, right-wing town.
Y'all hear that? Let me do this real quick because I forgot to take care of business. Hold on. Before I start showing any other videos. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. I want to throw that out there. So think about it. Adewale, I think that's how his name is pronounced. He's not too far from age from us. So this concept of what you would consider to be indentured servitude, and it happened to be a white family with Nigerian children, is not too far removed. And they're supposed to be coming out with something dealing with farming as well. Hold on. Okay. So this concept of farming and all that, that's not too far removed. So with that mindset, you still have that superiority. I'm better than you because of the color of my skin. I'm white. We're better. We want our country back. They're calling them savages, but they're doing the savagery. They're committing the savagery. They're the ones that's busting windows out and committing all these crimes. So it's not really them. And if you heard, he also said that after World War II, Great Britain needed help because they were economically or they were in some type they were in they money wasn't right after the war. Now I'm trying to find the best way to say it. Or their economy was out of whack and they needed them to come. And then, not to mention some of the things that transpired within World War II. I think some of areas of Great Britain were bombed. So some warfare happened there, but ultimately they called them over there in West Indies, West Indians, and West Indies, people from West India. I'm sorry, trying to get it out. Africa, uh, to come over and help them in India, to come and help them rebuild. Help them rebuild. And I'm telling you. So they really can't get a handle of what's going on over there. They really can't get a handle of the amount of this is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I've never seen this to this extent since I have been around. I've never seen this, like to this extent. So let me show you something. All right, I'm getting ready to share something. Fair use, fair use.
Tonight, violence and vitriol on the streets of the United Kingdom, targeting migrants and mosques in an ugly eruption of anti-immigrant sentiment. For more than a week, riots breaking out in city after city, cars torched in northeast England, fires raging in Belfast in Northern Ireland. This hotel, used to house asylum seekers, set ablaze. More than 400 arrests so far, including nearly 150 just this weekend. Police warning the number will rise.
I can confirm today we have seen at least 12 of our officers injured, with items such as brick fence posts, branches, and other missiles thrown at them.
Authorities blaming much of the violence on far-right extremist groups, some with neo-Nazi ties. Prime Minister Keir Starmer on the job only a month, vowing to deploy the full force of the law.
Whatever the apparent motivation, this is not protest. It is pure violence, and we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or our Muslim communities.
Communities now living in fear.
Muslim people, we're not terrorists. That's how I feel like. I feel like we're being threatened. It's not safe.
Amid the chaos, counter-protesters pushing back. Why is this happening? The immediate trigger, the murder last week of 3 young girls in a horrific stabbing spree. In the hours after, far-right provocateurs posted disinformation on social media, claiming the suspect was an immigrant in the UK illegally. It went viral, but it wasn't true. Authorities say the suspect is a 17-year-old born in the UK.
And social media clearly put rocket boosters under some of the organisation, the inflaming of tensions, and also the misinformation. So we will be pursuing this with the social media companies.
But immigration has increasingly been a flashpoint in the UK, with huge numbers of asylum seekers arriving in small boats.
How do you feel as a Brit when you see what's taking place in this country?
Ashamed. Ultimately, I think it's the one word, ashamed.
Yeah.
It's not how 99% of Britain feel. I think it's just a really small minority.
Tonight, with the cleanup underway, painful questions about what kind of a nation the UK wants to be.
There are no signs that these riots are calming down. More protests expected tonight in Dublin and in Birmingham. But the UK government today announcing it will deploy a standing army of specialized police officers to respond. Prime Minister Starmer saying law enforcement will have whatever resources they need to bring this to an end. Yasmin.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
Now, with that being said, now I don't want I don't want us American people of color to get too comfortable, to think that this could not transpire on our own soil. I ain't gonna ever say that they won't try because they've done it before, not to say they couldn't do it again. But I'm gonna play a video for you all. Fair use from Telegraph. Ohio senator calls for civil war if they lose. So I'm gonna play it.
Fight! 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 We got time. Come on. Hey, we are in the fight for the soul of our nation. We are in a fight for our kids and our grandkids, a fight that we can never imagine. I believe wholeheartedly Donald Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And if we come down to a civil war, I'm glad we got people like Schmitty and the Bikers for Trump on our side. You see, 248 years ago, our forefathers.
This is why I'm saying, y'all, I ain't gonna ever say it ain't gonna happen here. Now, the response is not gonna be pretty because you got to realize there is an underbelly there, an undercurrent or underlying issue that we cannot miss. Even though there are Black Republicans, if there was to be a civil war, understand it'll shift. And people don't realize, even with these individuals that's running with these political parties, it can shift, and it can shift quickly. And it can go from being about a party to a people overnight. It can quickly. And even if the fight is Republican, Democrat, they will flip the script and say and take sides. And before you know it, you would know who your enemy is. This is why we have Black people have no friend in either party. Because you don't know how this is gonna turn. Because even if, let's say, Trump win, it's really gonna get blatant. Trump lose, it's gonna be all out. It's gonna be ugly. They did it January 6th. I think it'll go to a whole nother level. And the thing is, they're looking for someone, just like with the UK. They're looking for someone to blame for a problem they created. This system and this economy was created by their own people. Their own people brought immigrants over there to help them. Their own people created this system, created this financial system, created this economy. It created all this. And now it's falling apart. And now they're looking for someone to blame. They're looking for somebody to blame. And you can't blame nobody but yourself. I cry loud, Israel. But you can't you can't blame nobody but yourself. But they don't like to blame themselves. They like to blame other people. Everybody's the problem but them. We don't have jobs because of y'all. How? When we're usually the last one hired and the first one fired. My people. We don't have crime. We have crime. Well, let's look at crime that we see now in the Black neighborhood. If your people would have left us alone when we were building our own communities and our own neighborhoods and didn't plant drugs in the Black community, didn't do what they did to the Black community to ensure that they kept a boot on our neck, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. We would have our own Wall Street. We would have our own communities. We would be thriving. Who did it? Where does the accountability? When do white supremacists hold themselves accountable? Because before that, we had our own communities. They burned them down. We had our own leaders. You assassinated them in the street. We tried to do things peaceful, but you attacked us. And then give us this pipe dream of civil unity, and actually you created a whole nother wall for us, or a ceiling that we could never reach. You took drugs and planted it in the Black community by way, we have proof. Freeway Rick Ross explained how the crack epidemic started and really began to thrive in LA. Think about it. So who's to blame? Who's to blame? Guns too. Planted them in the Black community because you thought that it was going to destroy us. That was the goal. For us to destroy each other. Because honestly, y'all couldn't destroy us. But y'all wanted us to destroy each other. And some of it worked, but some of it didn't. So, and then the new drug epidemic that we're dealing with right now is not us. Opioids took people out left and right. Where did that come from? And now people are heroin addicts. All these new addicts that are coming around right now. Where did that come from? The pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies knew they were creating fentanyl. Pharmaceutical came up with legalized heroin, and that's why I call it the opioid addiction, which is really, really, really tearing through their communities. Was where people had to go from taking opioids, and then because regulations kicked in, they started snatching these prescription opioids away from them. These people started going to street opioid, which was heroin. The reason I know is because I've experienced it in my own family. My own cousin started out taking painkillers because of a motorcycle accident she had. One of my closest cousins. This is like my right-hand cousin. Like anytime I'm going somewhere, I'm hanging out with her. She's even lived with me. She lived with me a couple of times. This is my dad's youngest brother, younger daughter. So we all grew up together. This is my blood, my family. And she was taking painkillers because the motorcycle accident she had, she could have died. But because she had all these pins in her knees and all this surgery, they gave her prescription painkillers, and she became addicted to it. And then when they were no longer giving her those because they are literally addicted. Like opioids are almost at the level of addiction. It is the level of an addiction of heroin. You just can't snatch them off of it. But she went from that to becoming a heroin addict and overdosed and died 2 years ago. If y'all remember, 3 years ago, year before my dad died, my cousin passed away from opioid addiction, from a heroin overdose. So the drug addiction and the drug issues now in your community that you're upset about, tell the pharmaceutical firms and companies thank you. Because they're the reason why you're dealing with that, not us. It's your local pharma, it's your local doctor that gave them opioids because they were getting kickbacks, per se. Rumor has it. So it's not us. But because you are so used to blaming Black faces for your problems, that now they're a target. Give us our jobs back. What jobs? Get crime out of the street. Let's really talk about it. How did crime get here? See, I want to have a real conversation, because real conversation turns that mirror around and lets them see that some of these things that you've done are now coming back to bite you. The same ceiling that you created is now, you can't break through the ceiling, the glass ceiling. You can't break through it. But understand that same ceiling, as long as we couldn't break through it and you had access, it was fine. But now you can't have access. Give us our jobs back. They said the job report that they're supposed to have 170,000 people jobs available and people hired. I think they missed the mark. It was like 179,000. I think it was like 117,000. So it's 80,000. I think it's even less than that. That's a part of this recession that they're talking about. And it's because of corporate greed, being honest. Corporate greed. Some of these corporations are greedy. They're greedy. So guess what? I'm going to introduce AI. I'm going to introduce anything possible so that I can put more money in my pocket and give you less money. So give you your jobs back. Who's at fault? Real talk. It's not Black folks. It's not even Muslim folks. It's nobody's. It's your folks. And now you're feeling what we've been feeling for decades. You're feeling it now. Drugs planted in your community. You're feeling it now. Not access to any jobs and money. You're feeling it now. Not having access to wealth so I can buy houses. Interest rates are high when I buy a house. That's not fair. You're feeling it now. How long have we been feeling this? How often have we went into banks, and even banks have admitted just here recently that they literally create a set of interest rates that we're unaware of that's really directed towards our community. Redlining. Can we talk about that? Redlining. They've made houses so expensive that we can't afford them. Welcome to, I call gentrification, mini colonization. That's all they're doing. But they've gentrified their own people out. Y'all don't have access. So now it's everybody's fault. It's the immigrants' fault. It's Black people's fault. How? Because remember that these things were designed to keep us out. Great example. What is it? What's the thing that they do for Black people at jobs and they just took it away? Somebody put it in the chat. What is it? What is it? I can't remember. Somebody put it in the chat. I can't. Affirmative action. Affirmative action. The Asian community was upset because they felt like affirmative action kept them from being able to compete, because they felt like we were the ones that were getting into the Harvards. But really, white Americans utilized them as a tool and said, yeah, affirmative action is bad. Let's remove it. And if we remove affirmative action, everybody is on an even playing field. And they all have access and everybody will compete equally. Guess what happened? Asian Americans fought, won, remove affirmative action, thought that they were going to get into these Harvards and these Princetons. Keep in mind, affirmative action never worked for us, truly. Guess what happened? Payback. They brought in, was it legacy? So it opened the door to bring in students through their bloodlines and their families to be able to get into these Harvards, but ultimately still making it harder for Asians to get in. See how this stuff is working right now? Yep. This stuff, every time it seems like now when they put their hands on us, before you know it, it comes back and bite them. Even with this diaspora war, and I hate to say this, y'all, and for my brothers and sisters that are listening to me that are over in other countries, I'm not directing this towards you. I'm really not. I'm directing it towards individuals that attack Black Americans and make it seem as if Black Americans are, they kept making jokes about us in the UK and making jokes about us in the Caribbean and making jokes about us with the Africans, saying that, we were slaves, and making comments about us as if we don't have culture, and, you complain, but y'all have access. And here it is now. It's coming back. They're dealing with it right now. The very thing we warned them of. And now the ones that are over there in the pond, over in those towns, are having to run and hide and understand who they truly directed it to. They're definitely directing it to the Black community. They're feeling it. And Black Americans are saying pretty much on TikTok, we told y'all. We told y'all. But y'all didn't want to listen to us. We was just being, he's whining and complaining and all this, and it really is coming back to bite them right now. And I hate that for them, because they said these folks are literally disrespecting them in the middle of the street, smacking them, talk. And I didn't even know that they would, if they lose a soccer or football match, they would go find a Black person and beat them up or harass them if they lost a soccer match or a football match. Only in the UK. Man, please. It'll be an all-out riot here if they tried this. I'm just going to be honest. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Where are my mints? Hold on. Let me get my cough drops. That's crazy. That's crazy. But they not going to try that here. They going to try it, though, y'all. They'll try it. I don't know what our response is going to be. But they tried it. They're going to try it. It's in their nature. They have to try it. They have to try it. They're going to test those waters. Just brace yourself. Brace yourself, y'all. Because if Trump loses, y'all, it's not going to be pretty. I'll say that much. Hold on, let me see. I saw another video. I'm trying to get to it. So, hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's going to be a person of color going to be included in this conversation, y'all. I'm getting ready to play for y'all. fair use, fair use. This is for education purposes, but fair use.
Poll that they're fearful of civil war in this country. Do you feel like we're close to that?
I mean, yes. Yeah.
In what way? I mean, we can't have a land war like we had in the 1860s, probably, right?
Keeping all illegal immigrants, it's going to happen no matter what.
The 47% of Americans in a recent poll said that they think there could be civil war in this country. Do you see that?
I'm in the Army. I don't want that. I don't want civil war.
Are you active duty?
I'm National Guard, but I'm going deployment this November of this year. And I don't want civil war. People is talking about war and things like that. People who don't know nothing about it. This is something that should never happen. I hope it never happen, because civil war or any type of war is a horrible thing. A lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to suffer. I don't even want to think about this, this type of thing, because civil war is a big word. It's a big word. It's better not even use it. But people is using it like for nothing. But I'm telling you, it's people who don't know nothing about war, about what it is, suffering this type of things.
A recent poll said 47% of Americans think that there is going to be a civil war in this country. Do you agree with that?
Could happen with the turning point in this country and the way things are going and how bad it's gotten. I think the people are tired. I think they're fed up. And
with what specifically? I want to ask this question because if you look at the numbers, we have historically low unemployment. Inflation is coming down. The Fed is going to most likely be lowering interest rates. People are getting back to work and cities are opening up again. In general, I just want to know what the doom stuff is. Like what is the bad stuff?
Well, I don't think that's true at all.
I'm not inventing that. I'm just going off the numbers we always go off of historically.
Yeah, I mean, where are these numbers coming from? Like, I think inflation's at the highest. I think
inflation is up, but it's coming down, is what I'm saying. And the same measurements that we've used for Reagan and Clinton and Obama and Trump and Bush and everybody, we're using now, as we always have. So I'm curious as to where the things are not good is coming from.
I mean, we got crime running rapid in the inner cities, in all of our democratic cities. We got, like I said, gas prices record high. Yeah, of course they're coming down now. Inflation's coming down now because we're getting close to the election. But the past 3 years, it's been a show, to say the least.
Pay attention to what he said. Crime in inner cities. Crime in inner cities. Okay.
Do you blame the president for that?
100%. I blame his whole everything for that. All the Democrats for that.
So the Democrat,
it was not like that. Everyone was prospering. People were making money.
Well, we had a pandemic and people were out of work. It was a disaster, the economy.
Yeah, the pandemic. Of course, that happens during Trump's election. No coincidence there.
Well, I mean, it's not coincidence or incidence. It just happened. And the way, during Bush, the World Trade Center was bombed. I mean, those are things that happen to U.S. presidents, right?
I mean, there's a lot that can be looked into all of that. But I don't know, I just think the way the country is now, how bad it is, and yeah, you can say the numbers are going down and whatnot, but yeah, we're getting close to the election. I just think that Trump will bring everything back to the way it should have been, these past 4 years, and that's what it is.
Does President Biden love America?
I don't think so, no.
Can you turn to the left because is that Trump you have shaved into your head there? You must really love the guy then, huh?
I care about him because he loves America and he's different. He's not the regular politician guy, and that's why it made me vote for my first time in my life in 2016.
You say he loves America, but he broke American law. Does that give you any pause about supporting a felon for president?
No, because it's all a scam with them about the courts.
Does that give you pause at all, voting for someone who was convicted of a felony?
Absolutely not. That was a sham trial, and Joe Biden showers with his daughter, so I'd much rather have somebody who has 34 false counts of felony against him than someone who showers with his preceding daughter.
Yeah, I don't know that part's true, but he does have the 34 counts. If you think it was a sham, what about the Hunter Biden trial? Do you think that was a sham as well?
Absolutely not. There was video evidence of his sister-in-law throwing the gun into the dumpster, and it was his gun with cocaine residue found on the holster. So not a sham trial.
question as to why that one wasn't a sham and the first one was. Whatever you think of the other potential trials he's going to have to face, that one seemed to have enough evidence to get 12 of our peers to convict him.
Well, the SEC refused to press charges against Trump for the same issue, and they're the ones that have jurisdiction over that matter.
Both do, but you're right.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Right. The federal government refused to press charges, and the federal government only press charges if they feel they can get a conviction, and they didn't feel like they could get a conviction, so they didn't press charges against them.
Well, they deferred actually to New York, right, which is what they do in practice.
It wasn't a state issue.
But okay, well, it happened in New York, and that becomes a state issue, right?
Sure. Yep.
And so I think the Fed said this really isn't a federal crime; it's a state crime. You're wearing a shirt with his picture on it. That's his mugshot picture when he surrendered to the police, and underneath it says "Never surrender." But that's the day he surrendered. Why is there pride in a felon president?
You believe he's a felon?
Well, I mean, I'm saying by law he is. He was convicted. That's what.
But when you look at that trial, the whole trial thing, the judge, he basically said, don't go off of the evidence, go off of your heart, which is basically saying, like, if you don't like this guy, vote him as guilty. And the judge's daughter is literally selling Joe Biden merch.
And these will be the people that would start a war, a civil war. The most uninformed individuals I've heard in a long time. Look like the elevator don't go too far. They just really don't. Some of them don't. But with that being said, these will be the type of individuals that would start a civil war. And it's like they're feeding off of their own concept and their own narrative that I'm just like, oh my goodness. This is, yeah, he's short a couple of chromosomes, something wrong here. All of them, really, being brutally honest. So they really don't think for themselves.
At the same time as this trial is going on, if that doesn't sound rigged to you, like the election was in 2020.
You think the election was rigged?
Oh, 100%.
What makes you say that?
What makes me say that? Maybe the fact that whenever Trump was like all these thousands of votes up, they said, we're having problems currently. Let's pause this.
Right, but that's because there were so many mail-in ballots because of the pandemic.
Why was there so many mail-in
The pandemic, because people didn't want to vote in person.
But every one of these mail-in ballots was Democrat.
Well, that's not so.
That's not what?
That's not so. They weren't all.
It was almost every mail-in ballot was almost for Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's not so, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm more asking if you would, if you said you thought it was rigged, that's your position.
I know.
It's
not I thought. I know it was rigged.
Well, neither of us. Okay. The courts.
Is it a fact? No.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That's okay. If it's a fact, let's leave it at that. What is it that excites you about President Trump?
His business economics, like his business lifestyle, and
But ma'am, can I ask you, like, he was just convicted of a felony in court because of the way he conducted business, in a sense, bookkeeping and covering something up. Does that?
Again, I have no dog in the fight on either side, but yeah, but yeah. But what you're seeing here is exactly the same rhetoric that's being pushed in the UK. Remember when I did that video a couple of days ago? They were just blurting out anything that somebody told them. And you're sitting here saying, that doesn't make sense. Like, we don't have jobs because of immigrants. What? So
give you pause at all?
no, it doesn't, because I don't know much about it, and it just kind of looked like they may have tried to frame him or pin it on him, because it's like, how come that didn't occur prior to the election, like them seeking him out for those offenses prior to the election. So I don't know, it just seems kind of fishy. And I feel like in life, majority of people do things wrong, and I I just feel like it's not something necessarily like that we have to.
Do you think the majority of the people do things wrong?
Half. Probably half. No one's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened. But you were on the list.
I have 2 tickets, actually.
And then they kicked you out?
Well, at first they said it was because my shirt was against Trump. And I said, okay, if you have a shirt for me, I'll change. I'll do it. I don't really care. And then they were like, well, go over here. And they kind of shuffled me around.
Who was it that did that?
A bunch of guys with Trump shirts. I don't really know.
Yeah. Are you pro-Trump or not pro-Trump?
I mean,
All right, asked and answered.
yeah.
And what was it that made you come out to do that?
I live in Philly and I thought it would be interesting. I just wanted to see Trump.
Did you think about joining the counter protest across the street or the protest across the street?
I might walk by, but I'm just kind of people watching.
Yeah. What is it that you really don't like about Trump?
He's kind of unprofessional. He's kind of childish, it seems.
Right.
I don't follow politics very closely, so I won't say anything on his anything specifically other than he doesn't seem like the best guy.
Is the goth community, are you part of the goth community here in Philly?
I mean, not really, kind of. Yeah. I would say more alternative, but I admire the goth community.
And are they pretty much unified against Trump?
So, hey, Don P, let me play one more video before we get started.
Okay.
But I'm going to play another video to let y'all see what's going on amongst them. It's not just happening in the UK. It's really getting to the next wave within the UK. I'm not going to say it ain't going to happen here. People I've seen people do TikToks to say they know better not to try us. I'm like, I don't think that's 100% true. They will try. I think so, but I don't think it'll work the way they want it to work if they were to try it. But play this video.
On 100 or so sites where police have said that they have Well, Krish, more and more people arriving here by the minute. These are the counter protesters. I saw a couple of women just now with signs saying "Nans against Nazis." They're here because this is one of the sites, around 100 or so sites, where police have said that they have real concerns about what might potentially happen here later this evening. There are also a lot of police in this area this evening, with riot vans patrolling the streets around here, large groups of officers on street corners telling people to take off their face coverings as they walk past. And you can see they boarded up the windows here. This is one of the places where there are concerns. Largely, it's immigration centres and lawyers' offices there are concerns about. But you mentioned what happened in court earlier, and I was there as those sentences were handed out, and as a man was jailed for 3 years.
Southport last week, when the understandable anger felt by many, for some, became an illogical excuse for this. Among the 1,000 or so in the crowd, this man, Derek Drummond, 58 years old and today jailed for 3 years for his part in the violent disorder and for punching a police officer in the face.
What we saw here in court today was not just fast-tracked justice. It was also justice meant to send out a message. On the violence in Southport last week, just a day after the knife attack at a dance class in which 3 young girls were killed, the judge said that the genuine and collective grief in the town was effectively hijacked. He described the rioters as a large and utterly lawless mob and said, quite simply, those who deliberately participate in such disorder, causing injury, damage and fear to communities, will inevitably be punished with sentences designed to deter others.
Spectrum Internet offers the fastest speeds and more.
I'm back. So with that being said, it's happening, and it's happening before our eyes. Um, and it's gonna spill over here. It's only a matter of time. I think after the election, we're gonna see it spill over, and it's gonna be interesting to see how this flips. I really believe Most High is gonna put us in a position where we all gonna have to depend upon each other. We're gonna have to, and that's what I think. Hey, Don P, welcome.
Hey, sis. Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple levels. One, there's going to be an interdependency here within the United States. And the other is going to be an interdependency of us located in other places.
Yeah.
Because, for some of us, the Most High has said, you got to go. And here's your final departing instructions. And some of us are going to stay and be preserved. Others are going to stay and be destroyed. So, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't look good, but it is definitely coming here. We've seen the predictive programming through Netflix. So you can be simple if you want to, but the wise and the prudent, they take heed to what the Most High is saying, and so then you have to, you got to make your election sure.
Yep, you do. You have to be wise, but it's happening. It's happening before our eyes. It's definitely happening. To the scale and how fast, I really believe it's going to be after the elections.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that.
Yep.
I think that after that, things are going to dramatically change.
Yep.
That's why my plan is to leave before then. Now that I've gotten, well, the most I had to get some things straightened out in my life. Not everybody's meant to go with you. Sometimes you got to trust the Most High and go alone with Him, not depending on anyone else.
Now you understand that these events that we're talking about is going to be a worldwide.
Not depending on anyone else, but just depending on Him.
Yep. Yep. I mean, go because you want to go, but don't go because of what's going to happen here. Because understand that what we see here, it's going to be a worldwide thing. It's not just going to be. We already see that it's taking place even in Africa right now. Africa is doing their own protesting. In Nigeria, I saw that here recently. So the unrest is going to be a worldwide unrest. It's not just going to be within U.S. You got a situation right now with the UK. You got the situation over in India. You have the situation over in Africa. You got it's multiple places. If we go to war, it's not going to be just the U.S. war. It's going to be a worldwide war.
That's true.
And if there's going to be civil unrest, it's not just going to be sent. In fact, if you notice, the civil unrest is not here yet. It's just within UK. We see it in Africa. We see it in India. We see it all over the world. So let me play this video, and then you can continue. So this is in Rotherham. I hope I'm saying that, UK. So I'm gonna play this.
I utterly condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend. Be in no doubt, those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests, Individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
I'm gonna start saying thuggery. Thuggery. That's gonna be my new word. But I hate you came right now, Zombie, because I'm like, I ain't gonna listen. We hitting the hour. I got 10 more minutes, and then I'm finna shut it down because I'm finna get ready for bed. Don and whoever's listening, this is very interesting. I'm just watching and I'm intrigued by it. Not to mention, hold on one second. Yeah, sorry, that was my mother. Mention right now we're dealing with the situation of the Iran and Israel unrest, and Ukraine right now, and Russia. I ain't even talking about that. I'm gonna save that for tomorrow, because yeah, it's a lot going on right now with Iran and Israel. They're at the brinks of just utter war. What do you have to say about that, Don?
You know, the American people have been duped into a lot of these things. And the conflict there and the unaliving that's taking place, you have to understand that the United States foreign policy is all about resources and Israel. One of the things that our people need to understand is that these are the same people who have gone around in history doing the same things. Why do you think when apartheid ended in South Africa, they ran to Israel? Now that it's getting real over there, for them folks that are not Israel, they run into them places that the scripture said that every man will return to his own country. They're returning to their own countries. They getting out of Dodge.
Okay, Don got quiet real quick, so I'm gonna play this video talking about what's going on over in Israel really quick. Hold on.
Sinwar, one of the architects of the October 7th attacks, has been elevated as the new political leader of Hamas following the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. The move is a sign of defiance from the terrorist organization and could further complicate ceasefire talks given Sinwar's hardline ideology. It comes as Israel and the entire region are on edge as it waits to see how and when Iran will retaliate in response to the assassinations of two prominent militants. The Biden administration is continuing its efforts to de-escalate tensions both behind the scenes and in public remarks. Joining me now is Courtney Kube, who is at her post at the Pentagon. So, Court, let's talk about the very latest. It's been a week since the strikes in Beirut and Lebanon on the militant leaders. What do you make of the fact that we haven't seen any retaliatory strikes yet? Are you anticipating them as the military?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a widespread belief there will be some sort of a retaliatory action here by Iran. But you're right, it's been a week since we saw that assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. We have seen many, at this point, public pronouncements from Iranian leaders saying that there will be some sort of a response. But I will say, Kristen, Iran does not always respond immediately. You can look back to you can look back to 2020. It was when the assassination of a leader in Iraq by the U.S. It was more than a week before Al-Assad Air Base was actually struck with missiles by Iran. You can look back to just April. It was days before Iran responded, firing off about 300 projectiles towards Israel. So it's not super surprising that they haven't responded yet, but we do expect something. The big question is, what could this look like? Everyone is pointing back to April when those projectiles were fired off. You remember, of course, Kristen, most of them were shot down. They were intercepted before they actually landed in Israel. It was a multi-country effort to do that. The question is, will we see something similar this time? And the reality is, we just don't know yet, Kristen.
Yeah, I mean, that leads me to my next question, Court, which is just how much insight does the Pentagon have at this point about Iran's military capabilities, about potential options that they're considering?
They know a lot about their capabilities, but the options may not be as clear in this case. So they know they have the ability to fire off drones and missiles, projectiles. They also know that they have a lot of control and influence over many of these militia groups in the region. We often call them Iranian-backed militia groups. The belief is that they could play a role here, according to U.S. officials, in some sort of a response. But again, the capabilities are known, but what exactly Iran has decided to do, or frankly, if they're still deciding how they want to respond here, I'm assuming there are people in this building who know a lot more than you and I do about this. But at this point, we really don't have a whole lot of fidelity about what this could look like. Again, everyone is pointing back to April, but it's not 100% clear that that's what this is going to look like again, Kristen.
Well, I know you will get the information first when it becomes available. Courtney, thank you. It's great to see you as always.
Thanks for watching. Stay up.
Fair use for the back room. So y'all, we're gonna sit down tomorrow, and I'm gonna try to get some time so I can sit down and talk about this, because this Iranian and Israeli conflict is interesting, and where it's going to shift, because right now the Israelis, let's say it like that, are bracing themselves. When do you sit and you wait for your attacker to attack you? Some ain't quite right. Some ain't quite right. Hold on one second. Yep. So, all right, family. I had to catch a message real quick. I am going to go to bed. I've been out here for an hour and 15 minutes. Y'all know I've hit my limit. But stay tuned. We got more conversations coming. There's more stuff transpiring. We actually going to hold Yacoba's debate here. So, Jacoba, if you're watching, I have those rules ready for you on tomorrow. Tonight I had to run a lot of errands, so I'm gonna get that done for you. So I think Sunday is gonna be the debate. So, but y'all, I'll see y'all on tomorrow. I'm getting sleepy. Y'all can hear it in my voice. I'm starting to get sleepy. So we will reconvene on tomorrow and talk deeper about this Iranian and Israeli conflict. Anything from you, Don, before I close up?
No, it's just going to get interesting from here on out. Pay attention, stay awake, and don't be distracted.
Yep. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all on tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. All right. Good night. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for being a part of the community and listening to me. And we're going to talk more. Good night.